All right. Can you hear me now? Just say something, Chris, as well. Okay, so actually, just wait. That's meant to be Discord. Just give me 1 second. Cancel that. Uh, where's that one? Right, just give me 1 second. Now let me just copy that. Let me just go over here. And paste. All right, say something now, Chris.
How do I sound now?
Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I did make a new because obviously Chris is roving, so I made a new OBS scene, but I forgot to add the audio. So,
Oh,
so you should be able to hear Chris. There. So everything I just said in that first little bit, don't worry about it because it was very funny and very informative, and it was brilliant, brilliant broadcasting.
so basically, I just warmed up my voice for you and
That's
nobody
exactly
else.
right. That's exactly
Hey,
right.
listen. It happens that
That's,
we're operating on the fly. We're doing something we've never tried before,
that's it.
and issues crop up when you're doing live stuff. So it happens.
That's exactly right. So as I was saying, Chris is actually on the bus. He is driving back to St. Louis. We are doing the podcast live from the bus. So welcome to
Yep.
Chris. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about today. A few developing stories midweek, especially with UCLA and Virginia Tech. We're going to jump into them in just a second. I know, Stacey, I had one job. I had one blank job. But anyway, it's all good. It's all good. So we've got a lot to talk about from week 3 college football. There's not a week that goes by that something doesn't happen. I tell you what. Some very close games during the week. Some great games. We had some great games here live on YouTube and on our Discord as well for our Patreon members. So let's talk about UCLA and Virginia Tech, the developing stories that we've had from their
Yeah.
camps.
Yeah, we would not normally start the 50-yard line with talking about a pair of 0-3 teams.
Yeah,
Maybe
0-3.
UCLA if I'm wanting to open the show with a really good joke about
Yes.
UCLA, but no, there's legitimate news coming out of Virginia Tech and UCLA.
Yep.
Their head coaches had their parking privileges revoked.
That's
They
right.
had their path to the building demagnetized. In short, they were fired over the
Yes.
weekend.
That's right.
Both teams starting 0-3. Virginia Tech, they fired Brent Pry on Sunday, a day after a 45-26
Oof.
loss to
Old Dominion. Yep. Who might I say is 3-0. So they're doing fantastic at the
So
moment.
you had to know. So you had to know the seats. The seat was getting very warm in Blacksburg, Virginia, for Brent Pry, and they said basically we're going to pay you to go away.
That's right. That's right. I don't know what his payout was, but I'm assuming it wasn't very cheap.
There are 2 commas in the number. I'll put it that
Oof.
way. $6 million.
Ooh. Because I
You
know
got $6 million to go away.
Yeah, I know. Is it Deshaun? Is that the UCLA coach who was a running back for UCLA? That's why he. Well, that's what they're saying. They basically got the job because of an old player that stood up and said, "Look, I'll do the coaching." Not very experienced apparently, but he's 5-10, 15 games they gave him. He's obviously not performed very well.
Yep.
3 games into this season, they've just said, "Look, see you later." I think it was 6.4 million. His buyout was for 15 games. I mean, that's not terrible, but yeah, they've parted ways too.
And for Foster, I mean, kind of the same thing. A disaster start, 0-3,
Yeah.
outscored 108-43 in those first 3 games, and the icing on the cake was Saturday. They were 2 touchdown favorites at home at the Rose Bowl against New Mexico. Now, we're not talking about a member of Murderers Row here. We're not talking one of the elites of the Big 12 or the Big 10 or the SEC.
Yep.
Or hell, Boise State, a team like that, a really good group of 5 team. New Mexico, I'll put it to you this way. New Mexico, Ryan McGee of ESPN for years has called them the Nobos.
The Nobos.
Instead of the Lobos.
Oof.
Yeah, because the no involves usually the number of wins they have for most of the season.
Yes.
As in none.
Yes.
They were 2 touchdown favorites against New Mexico. New Mexico covered the spread.
Yep. And it was a big win as well. It was a big win. It wasn't just, we just got over the line. It was a huge win.
No, they covered they would have cashed bets had New Mexico been minus 14 instead of UCLA.
Yeah.
They won, what was it, 35-14?
Yeah, it was a huge win. Yeah.
Disaster result.
Yes.
That's an absolute disaster result.
35-10 it was, 35-10.
Oh, 35-10, yes. Even worse. It was 25 points.
Yes.
So just a miserable start to the season.
Yes.
And now they're going into Big Ten play. And listen, we don't have the saying over here, the wooden spoon, like you have in Australia. They are definite candidates for the Big Ten's wooden spoon this year. So. That means to the American audience, that means finishing dead last.
Dead last, wooden spoon. That's it. You don't want the wooden spoon at all. I did see the photo before the game for USLA, and I don't even think it was a tenth of the stadium was full. It was a pretty poor showing, but I guess that's a reflection on how the fans are feeling about the season. So
definitely UCLA is little brother of the colleges in Los Angeles right now. It goes kind of back and forth. USC, the nickname for USC is the University of Spoiled Children.
Yeah,
because they're always a power program, but they've had down years. Yeah. UCLA's had up years, and it does bounce back and forth. UCLA's little brother right now in Los Angeles in terms of college football right now.
I've just seen and University of Southern California has actually just scraped into the top 25 as well.
Yep. We'll get into that here in a few minutes, but just think about the 2025 UCLA has had. Yeah. They went 5-7 last year.
Yeah.
But they got Nico Iamaleava, transfer from Tennessee, and a whole mess of that whole transfer for Nico coming out of Tennessee. This reports he was wanting $1 million. Tennessee said pound sand.
Yep.
And that he hits the portal, winds up in LA at UCLA. And he's not doing anything in LA. We discussed this last week.
No.
When they lost last week. So is he going to be the starting quarterback? Is he going to hit the portal again here at the end of the season?
That's what's going to
go on.
If they've got a new coach coming in, who I haven't heard any rumors about who's going to take up the mantle there, do they still play Nico, or do they say, look, mate, sit this one out. We'll see how we go with maybe the second string. I couldn't even tell you who the second string is up there at California. So do they do that? Do they persevere with Nico and this dire performance that they're having at the moment? Or do they say, you know what, new coach, new team, let's try somebody else? I don't know.
Yeah, there were some names, of course, being thrown around. Tony White, defensive coordinator of Florida State, whose stock is rising big time.
Yes.
He's being, his name's being kicked around. He's a UCLA alum, so he would be a logical choice. BYU coach Kalani Sitake. Now, leaving his alma mater, leaving BYU. That might be it might be tough to get a guy like him because BYU doesn't do too bad, and they've just moved into the Big 12.
Yeah.
Another guy, Tommy Reese, he's the offensive coordinator for the Cleveland Browns. Born in LA, ties to the UCLA program through his dad.
Yep.
Spencer Danielson, coach of Boise State, grew up in Southern California. And these are just some of the names that are being kicked around, being speculated right now. I'm willing to bet they're just going to have an interim for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
They're not going to hire the permanent head coach till the season's over.
Yeah.
And he can get in. We'll get into silly season. We'll get to December with all the coaching moves. But that's motivation. Of course, Virginia Tech is another one. South Carolina coach Shane Beamer. He's a logical thought to be the new head coach at Virginia Tech because his old man coached at Virginia Tech forever and built Virginia Tech into what it became. Back 30 years ago. And because Frank Beamer, he's a legend in Blacksburg, Virginia. So he, to bring his son to Virginia Tech, his name's been kicked around a few times when the Virginia Tech jobs come open. And maybe one side wasn't interested, then the other side wasn't interested. Maybe this is the time for Beamer Ball to come back to Blacksburg, Virginia. Well, the pressure that would be under him coming back to Blacksburg, it would be immense because there would be expectations that Shane Beamer would do what his dad did. And could he live up to it? Only time would tell. I don't have a crystal ball.
Yes.
And listen, South Carolina, they've had their own issues this season, namely Saturday when Vandy Pimp got up. In Columbia.
Yes.
Vandy dropping South Carolina by 24 points.
That's a big loss. That's a big loss.
It's one game, and South Carolina was very close to a playoff spot last year.
Yes.
So he's certainly would be a serious candidate to go to Virginia Tech.
Yes. It's funny how a difference a year makes. We were saying about South Carolina last year, they should have made the playoffs. They got ripped off, and now they're sitting, struggling this year, beaten by, obviously, Vanderbilt last week, who are on 3-0 this season as well, too. So,
Vandy's 3-0. They are ranked, and don't sleep on them being a dark horse contender for a trip to Atlanta. That is,
I know.
Diego Pavia, that dude can ball.
Yes.
Diego can absolutely ball. We saw it last year when he did against Alabama. And this year, it's like Vandy's on a mission, man. They are like, we are no longer the joke of the SEC. We are no longer the joke of college football. We are coming here to shock the world.
I know. I saw him
3 games into the season, doing pretty good.
A highlight from Diego. He can run the ball as well. He's not afraid to tuck it and run as well too. So which is good.
Oh, absolutely. He is a dual threat quarterback, and he can fling the pill as well. He can throw the ball around the yard a lot.
Yes.
So I'm already looking ahead. October 25th, I believe. Missouri makes the trip to Nashville. Could you imagine if they're both undefeated going to Nashville? The world might explode because the world could not comprehend an unbeaten Missouri and an unbeaten Vanderbilt playing for first in the SEC.
That would be
not
crazy.
Out of the realm of possibility.
No. I think their strength of schedule is coming up. They're going to be hitting all the. I'm just having a look at they've got Alabama on 4th of October, LSU, and obviously, as you said, Missouri. They've got Texas after that, Auburn, Kentucky, and then Tennessee. So their strength of they've got a pretty tough rest of the season. So they've just got to get a couple of games through to make it there in October undefeated. So you never know.
Oh yeah,
stranger things have happened.
They've already got They've already got a ranked win, the South Carolina
Yep.
win. They took down number 11.
Yep.
They got a couple of easy ones, but man, when the calendar flips to October, it is ranked,
Yep.
unranked, and ranked. So we're talking 6 of their last 7 are against ranked opponents, and the only one that isn't ranked is Kentucky.
Yes, that's right.
In that entire stretch, that's
a tough schedule. Yep.
If they can roll that part of the schedule, if they can get to the Alabama game unbeaten and then roll the rest of it 5-2, they're a playoff team.
Yep.
That is a playoff team because they would have some really, really good wins in that mix.
Yeah, that mix, yeah. They certainly would too. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season's going to go for them too. And you can just imagine the Vandy pimp is going to be every game.
Oh, man.
Every game.
Yes. SEC Shorts, bless you for coming up with that character. You hit on absolute gold.
That's right. Exactly. So talking about the SEC, what about Georgia and Texas A&M? Very close.
You want to talk?
Very, very close.
Yep. You want to talk about survival? You got to do it. You got to do it in college football. There are games where you just feel like done with the game, you got to win, but you just felt like you just survived it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Georgia had that. Texas A&M had that.
Yep.
Georgia going to Tennessee. I mean, these were blockbuster games on Saturday.
They were fantastic.
Our game on YouTube.
Yep.
Our game on YouTube, Georgia and Tennessee, the afternoon game in Knoxville. That is not an easy place for any road team. I don't care what the quality of your team is. You're going into Knoxville, you're going to war.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you're going in front of 108,000 at Neyland, and they're wearing orange and white.
Yep.
And
comes down to
Tennessee
overtime as well. You couldn't get a closer match than that.
No, Tennessee absolutely punched Georgia in the mouth in the first half. They were up 14. They had that game under control. But Kirby Smart and his guys, they just find a way. When you think they're down, when you think they're out, when you think they're going to get knocked out. And, down 21-7, I would call that being on the canvas, looking for your mouthpiece at the count of 6.
Yep.
They got knocked down, but stood up, shook the cobwebs out, got back into the game, forced overtime, and then held Tennessee to a field goal in their first possession.
Yep.
And Georgia responded with the touchdown to win the game. And really, the fans who were there, the 108,000 who were there in the building on Saturday, a lot of them went home shocked.
Yep.
They were like, we had this game. This was our game.
Yep.
And a lot of Tennessee fans are probably going, yep, this is playing true to form, because Tennessee will have good to great teams. Their history is a lot of good to really good to great teams that have that one game.
Yeah.
Or those 2 games where they let it get away. This Georgia game, when we come to the end of the season, that game's going to wind up being a tiebreaker for seeding in the playoff or potentially a playoff berth.
Yep.
And, depending on who they're going against, this loss could be soul crushing for them, losing this game.
Yes. So, it obviously comes down to luck as well. Tennessee missing that field goal.
Yep.
Was it Gilbert? Was the kicker Gilbert? He looked like 12-year-old. He looked very young, very nervous.
Right,
You could understand coming up and missing that field goal, but obviously redeeming himself a little bit in the overtime, getting a field goal, but just wasn't enough at the end there. So, Georgia has to now back it up. They've got Alabama coming up this week as well. So coming off a tough win there. Coming out basically, by the skin of their teeth, really. So I guess you got to back it up and then meet Alabama this week and then do it all again. So it's going to be interesting to see if Alabama's going to step up and play. Because we were talking about last week where Georgia felt a little kind of, I don't know, subpar. They weren't really kind of playing that much. But I think they definitely stepped it up this week. Sleepwalking, yeah, basically. So
they knew their talent would get them over the line against Austin Peay.
Yes.
But to Georgia's credit, they played with intensity, especially once they got down, in the first half when they were trailing.
Yeah.
They found the intensity, and then in the second half, they get the game tied. And, Tennessee chance to win, late field goal, last second field goal, and just pushed it. It happens. It was a very makeable field goal, but, just wound up, Gilbert just wound up pushing it.
Yeah.
And, come back, hit the field goal in overtime, but, field goals in overtime.
Yes.
When your first possession, you kick the field goal, you're like, oh boy, we're in trouble.
Especially a team of caliber of Georgia, you have to get maximum points all the time. You can't, that's good enough. Georgia will punish you. And they did. So Georgia come away with
that's exactly what happened.
So it's going to be interesting because Alabama's a very different team than last year. Obviously they've got different quarterback. And as Derek says in the chat there, Alabama can't run it. They don't have that running game at the moment. How are they going to defend against Georgia, who aren't afraid to throw it? So it's going to be a very interesting game, I think. So
but you know what? Alabama's looked better since week 1.
Yeah, well, yes.
I
think they've settled down for sure.
Yeah, they have settled down. Now we're going to find out what the real Alabama is.
Yes,
because this is a legit tough game for Alabama against Georgia.
Yes.
Are they the team that's really dominated the last couple of weeks, or are they the team that went to Tallahassee and got thumped? So
yeah, that's right.
We'll learn more about Alabama. We'll put some more pieces to their puzzle together come Saturday against Georgia.
Yeah, it's going to be a great game, I think. So.
Yep.
They're coming off some big scores, Alabama, but again, obviously strength of schedule as well too. So it's going to be very interesting when they meet Georgia defense. So it's going to be a very telling game for both teams, I think.
And then you mentioned Texas A&M.
Yep.
They had another dogfight, and wouldn't you know it, special teams in that game.
Yep.
Played a huge role at the end of that game. Notre Dame at home against Texas A&M. Of course, Notre Dame went to Kyle Field and beat A&M a year ago.
Yes.
In another really good game, and a bit of a shock for Notre Dame to go to Texas, beat A&M. Now A&M comes up back into a home series for those two, and the Aggies came to South Bend and escaped with a 1-point victory.
Man, that was a great game too. That was a very good game.
That was our main game on Discord on Saturday night, and it was back and forth. The lead change. We had a ton of ties. We had lead changes galore in this game.
Yeah.
Notre Dame was up. They were up 10 at one point. They were up 24-14 in the second quarter. A&M battled back. They actually took the lead going into halftime. Then touchdown for Notre Dame into midway through the third quarter. A&M responded with a field goal to tie it. We're tied going to the fourth. Notre Dame's got a lead. A&M answers a field goal to tie it again.
Yeah.
Touchdown with under 3 minutes to go. And South Bend is jumping. They're like, we got this game. We got this game. We got this game. And amazing how your mood changes on one little play.
That's it. That's it. It
You
was
know, a botched snap on
mm,
what is typically the simplest, most easiest score in football, the extra point.
yeah,
It's a 20-yard kick. Snap it back, put it down, kick it.
that's it.
Well, there are things that have to happen, and if
Yep,
they don't happen correctly, it
that's
gets
it.
messed up, and that's exactly what happened.
Yep,
The snap, the holder couldn't grab it, couldn't get it down. Extra point fails. You're up 6 with 2:53 to go, and A&M had to be feeling okay. We've been bailed out.
yep.
Thinking, they were thinking, oh, we got to go down, we got to score, we just to tie to get this thing to overtime. Now all of a sudden, you score a touchdown, you kick the extra point, you're hopping on your charter plane back to College Station, Texas, with a win
That's it.
instead of having to play overtime. And wouldn't you know it, that's exactly what happened. They go 13 plays, 74 yards. Get it, Marcel Reed catches an 11-yard touchdown pass with 13 seconds left, and A&M gets out of South Bend, and they run out of South Bend like they stole something.
That's it.
Because
So
they
now,
did. It's called a win.
now Notre Dame is 0-2. They're basically hanging on 24 in the rankings. What do you do now? You have to do something this is the turning point of the season where you've got to say, look, we've got to knuckle down. We've got to get some they've got some easy ones. Purdue coming up, Arkansas, and Boise State is the next 3 games. So these are 3 games that they have to win without a doubt. It's going to be interesting to see if they can do it.
Purdue, you would think would be a win.
Yes.
That's of the next 3. That's probably going to be their easiest game.
Yes.
Arkansas is pretty good.
Yes.
That's not going to be easy. And Boise State, despite losing to South Florida, they still have a reputation of being giant killers.
Yes.
And they rise up against the big school and against the big schools. And trust me, there are few bigger schools than the University of Notre Dame in terms of reputation.
That's right.
In college football.
That's it.
And to beat Notre Dame, that is something you hang proudly in your building, saying we beat the Irish.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be it's going to be telling. It's going to be telling what they're going to do. So,
but Notre Dame is now to the point where they cannot lose again. They have got to run the table, and they don't even have their own destiny in their hands. They need help.
Yes,
because they don't have the luxury of a conference championship to get them into the playoff. They have got to get an at-large berth.
Yeah,
and a loss to Miami. That's not a horrible loss. No. Lost to A&M. That's not a horrible loss. Hence the fact that they're 0-2 and still ranked in the top 25.
Yes.
Because the poll voters, they are not punishing Notre Dame for 2 really close losses against 2 really good teams, including one of them on the road.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're not being punished for those losses too much. Now they've been dropped to the bottom of the poll, and if they lose to Purdue, they will not see the poll again for the rest of the season.
I mean,
that will not happen.
If you're a praying man and you go for Notre Dame, pray to touchdown Jesus. This would be the time to start praying. So if you are a Notre Dame fan, for sure, because your season's slipping away.
There is a reason touchdown Jesus is there. It's South Bend. So, every Catholic who is a Notre Dame fan, which is a whole lot of Catholics in this country and a whole lot of non-Catholics as well, let's be honest. They're praying to the God of their choice.
Yeah.
That Notre Dame gets this ship on the right path. Gets their heading straightened out, and beating Purdue, that starts turning the ship around and turning the season around for Notre Dame, and then they can go into a little bit harder part of their schedule and try to build on it. And again, they've got to win out, but you can only win one game a week. So you got to start with Purdue, then Arkansas, then you got to go to Arkansas, then you got to play Arkansas, then you got to play Boise State, and then the rest of your schedule, and hope along the way that other teams that are in a similar position with 2 losses, or get to 2 losses, those 2-loss teams turn into 3-loss teams to open up a playoff spot. Just got to hope. Notre Dame's now to the point where they're hoping for chaos at the top of the polls to get them back in.
If they go 0-3, that's going to be a tough spot to get from, because that's going to definitely slip them out of the top 25.
They go 0-3, they're done.
Yeah,
they're finished. They will not go to They will not go to the playoff this year. You could take that to the bank, etch that in stone.
Yes. Yeah. So the other team we can mention is Clemson, who is having a real tough time at the moment, to say the least. To say the least, their season is spiraling out of control. Very, very.
They are 1-2. They are now out of the poll.
Yep.
Georgia Tech got them in Atlanta on Saturday, the early game. We were watching this leading into the YouTube.
Yeah.
Into the YouTube watch party, and it sucks for Clemson because they played all right. Okay, Georgia Tech's a pretty good team. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're 3-0. They're in the rankings now.
Yeah.
They're in the top 25 now. And Georgia Tech won on a walk-off 55-yard field goal. If you're tied and your opponent is coming out, trotting out a kicker in college to kick a 55-yarder to beat you, you will take your chances with that.
Yes.
Because, we know college kickers. Listen, that's a hard kick for a 10-year NFL vet.
Yes.
Let alone a college kid.
I think his longest before that was 51. So 55
was the program's longest.
Yeah. That's right.
The longest in program history was 51? and Georgia Tech has a history that is basically the history of college football. Yeah. Their program dates back to the 19th century, so we're talking 130 plus years of history.
Yeah.
And you get beat by a kicker who breaks the program record for the longest field goal ever?
I know.
And that's how you fall to 1-2. It sucks for Clemson, but that's where they're at. And, that's what happens when you can't close out games. And when you play like crap in other games. Your first game of the season, your offense was anemic against LSU. Okay? You had to fight back from 16 down against
Troy.
Troy?
Yep.
Troy? Really?
And even then, they did go on to win convincingly. It was only 10 points in it, so it wasn't a very convincing win either.
Listen, when you're 16 down to Troy and come back to win, you aren't convincing no matter what the scoreline was. Let's be honest.
So they've got Syracuse season coming up this week as well too. So Syracuse has been kind of put in the fear of because a lot of times we've been doing score checks and Syracuse has been up, so leading early on. So it's going to be interesting to see how Clemson handles that too.
Well, listen, Syracuse has their own issues. I mean, they fought back and barely beat UConn a couple of weeks ago. But Syracuse had their moments last year.
Yeah.
They're not going to be a playoff contender, but I mean they can bury Clemson's playoff hopes this weekend.
That's it. Another one that's
because
skirting on that three game loss as well. They're already early 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean Clemson loses again. Their chances are kaput.
Yep.
They they might not see the top 25 again either if they lose this weekend.
It's a very interesting predicament where some of these teams are very early on in the season as well too. We've only had 3 weeks, and already we're talking about people being out for the whole season. It's like, ooh, it's a very interesting season so far too. So, and just while we're talking about very interesting, Florida State sitting at number 7 in the rankings. What a difference a year makes. That's crazy.
I know. It's I love seeing I love seeing these rebound stories because 2024, the disaster of 2024, they didn't panic.
No, that's right.
And credit to them because so many schools would have absolutely panicked, fired everybody, and rebuilt, and Florida State would probably be in a position where, they might be 1-2. Instead they're sitting at 2-0.
Yeah.
Number 7 in the polls. I mean, and they're again legit contenders for the playoffs. So, last year was an aberration. So, the way it appears that last year was just flat out an aberration, and now this week. Who do they got this week?
They've got Kent State this week.
Okay, so
Kent State,
because they got Miami. They got a game against Miami coming up too.
Yeah, 4th of October.
Which that's going to be out. Yeah. So 3 weeks from now. Yeah, well, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Playing Miami. That is going to be a blockbuster. That's going to be the ACC game of the year.
Yeah,
Miami against Florida State. The way it's going.
If Miami, both of these teams might meet up without a loss, so this is going to be a very interesting meetup. So, Florida State and Miami.
They could both be top 10 teams.
Yep,
probably will if they're unbeaten. They'll be top 10 teams going into that game.
So the Florida State's got Kent State and Virginia. So I'm assuming they're going to hopefully come away with 2. I'm kind of going for Florida State this season. I tell you what, they're the kind of dark horse that we need for the football. So I'm hoping they're going to meet Miami.
And Florida State for so long they were kind of the bullies that nobody liked. In college football.
Okay.
Yeah, for a long time they were so good for so long under Bobby Bowden.
Okay.
I mean, they were national title contenders every year, and you loved seeing them get knocked off because they were really high on the perch.
Okay.
To see them get knocked down the way they did last year, and now the instant redemption, it does make you want to cheer for them a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a neutral, you don't really have another team in the ACC, and you flip on a Florida State game. You know what happened last year, and you're kind of cheering for them.
Yep.
To build themselves back up in short order. So, let's see them get to that Miami game undefeated.
Yes, that's it.
And
it's going to
be playing for first in the ACC.
That's it. Battle for Florida. Florida Gators are already out of it. They're out of the 25. They've already lost some. I don't think they're going to be a real contention this year. But as somebody who's only watched it for a year, seeing Florida State last year and then seeing them this year is definitely, as you said, somebody to root for because that's the only history I knew. I didn't know they were good however many years ago and whatever else. So I'm only going from what I know from last season. So it's good to see him get up. It's good to see him get some good wins as well. Obviously coming off an Alabama win and then that massive score against East Texas A&M, 77-3, which is ridiculous. So it's going to be nice to see him meet Miami. I think that's going to be a banger of a game too. So I'm looking.
Yeah,
forward
I don't
to that
I don't think anybody's put 77 up in that game.
No,
I'm just going to put that down now. If you're looking at team totals, under 77.5 on both of them.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to. And the other thing about Miami this season, obviously they've got Carson Beck. It's nice to kind of see him getting some positive, feedback. Because obviously last year we were saying, he kept dropping the ball and whatever else, but seems to have really settled into Miami down there. So it's nice to see some positivity, that's for sure. And they're obviously sitting fourth on the table, so they're sitting pretty at the moment too. So
Yep. Yeah, fourth in the rankings. They actually got first place votes this week. They moved up one spot this week as well. Oregon, interestingly enough, your Ducks fell 2 spots, even though they beat Northwestern by 20.
It's obviously strength of schedule,
Exactly.
We've got 2 weeks, not next week. It is next week, isn't it? We meet Penn State, not this week, next week. So that's going to be a real challenge. I think probably the schedule that we've got this year, probably the one that we're saying, I think Penn State's 60% to win that one. So that's going to be our biggest challenge this year. So,
and you're right about the strength of schedule. Yes, Oregon, they've played Montana State, Oklahoma State, and Northwestern. Now you can only play the teams that are on your schedule at that particular moment.
That's right.
But the 2 teams that passed in Miami, they've got the win against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Georgia got the win at Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's why they jumped Oregon, even though Oregon won by 20. So if you're a Ducks fan and you see, hey, well, why do we lose 2 spots in the rankings? That's why the pollsters are giving the voters are giving credit for good wins, as the voters should be doing.
It took me a whole year to work that out. Last year, I could not wrap my head around it because I'm obviously from NRL. If you win, you move up. But now watching college football for a year and however many teams, and obviously the teams, and as you said, strength of schedule. I've never heard that term in my life. But now it's this year. It's like, the strength of schedule. I understand why they're 6 and they're not 3 or whatever else because they've never lost. But I understand it now. It took a little while to get my Aussie brain around the way college football works. So, but it makes sense.
Well, with pro sport, with pro sports, both here in America and in Australia and around the world, pro sports, your record is what you are. It says what you are. And your championship is determined by your record at the end of the season, or how you progress through a playoffs, or in Australia, what you call the finals series in both the NRL and the AFL.
Yeah.
You win, you advance, you lose, you're out.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
College, but there is no room for opinion. College football is unique, and to a lesser extent, college basketball is unique because you're standing towards winning a championship in terms of a national championship, at least rests in part on the opinion of human beings.
Yes. Yeah.
So instead of pure fact, win, loss, winning tiebreakers in case your record is exactly the same at the end of the season.
Yeah.
That determines how you get into playoffs in professional sports around the world. College sports, there's politics involved.
Yeah,
there's
that's right.
There's not necessarily politics, politicking.
No.
You are trying to influence the opinion of the people who decide who make the playoff. And that is what is unique about college sports. And it's been unique about college sports since they were created.
Yeah.
100+ years ago. You're trying to influence the voters to vote for you to be a national champion. And it still applies, even though we have a 12-team playoff, because to get into the playoff, you have to, at some level, impress the voters in the committee.
That's right.
If you don't win the conference championship, you don't get an automatic bid. You have got to impress the voters and convince them that you are a legitimate candidate, a legitimate contender, and get them to vote for you to be able to play for the national championship.
That's right.
It's what's unique about college sports, and really, honestly, what makes it fun.
It does. It as I said, we would say in Australia, you're only as good as your last game. If you lost that game, well, you suck, basically. But it's college football. Yeah, you might have lost, but you lost to a really good team and you lost away in the road. It all kind of matters, you know. So it takes a little while to get your brain around it, but once you do, it kind of makes perfect sense. Really, it kind of makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Last year I couldn't understand it at all. It was like, this is
and-
ridiculous. What are you talking about? Ridiculous. But now it makes perfect sense this year. So
Yep. Now that you've seen a season of it and see how it works in real life, because you can read it, try to wrap your brain around it until you actually see how it works. You're never going to get it. Now
That's
you've seen
exactly
how it
right.
works, and now you're applying it to 2025.
That's exactly right.
So, like I said, last year you were drinking from a fire hose, man. I've told you this many times. Trying to digest all this information, and it's impossible. But credit to you, you've done an amazing job picking up on this stuff. And now, now you could probably be an analyst on ESPN.
I don't know about that far,
least ESPN
definitely enjoying it. That's for sure. Definitely enjoying delving into, especially past games as well. As you're saying about Florida State, reputations and stuff. It's like, okay, I got to go back and watch some of these games, these eras that they have, and how they get these reputations. So that's the next step. I'm enjoying the season too much at the moment. So, but I find myself whenever
That's how you
got some downtime, I have a game playing in the background. It's crazy. It's taken over my whole life. It's crazy.
Hey, listen, you're just like the rest of us college football sickos. You really are.
That's it.
And kind of brings a tear to my eye just thinking about that. I'm so proud.
That's it. Wait till the next couple of years. Dang, be crazy about it.
Oh man,
crazy about it.
Yep.
We've already kind of touched on some of the 25. Obviously, Ohio State still retaining the number one spot. They haven't looked bad at all this year. They've been crushing everybody. I think they're going to be really hard to beat this year. I think the new quarterback's come in. He's really settled into the team. I think they're just going to crush it this year. So. I don't know. I think I'm penciling them in for definitely being in the top 3 at the end of the year for sure.
Yep,
for sure.
And they won their really big game. They beat Texas.
Beat
in
Texas.
week 1.
That's right.
It wasn't pretty, but it's a win against a quality opponent.
Yep.
And Texas has bounced back. They're 2-1, and now ranked number 8. So that win keeps looking really good for Ohio State.
Good at the end of the year. That's right. They've beaten number 1, who's crushing.
Yeah.
So they've got
and
the next ranked one will be Illinois, which will be on October the 11th as well. So the strength of schedule until they obviously meet Michigan, which aren't looking too good this year. Michigan.
No, not really. But of course, weird things happen in the Ohio State Michigan game every year.
That's right.
So don't
count Michigan out.
Don't just assume that.
Yes.
Definitely do not count them out. But,
if the last 4 years are anything to go
by,
Ohio's probably maybe penciled in to lose that one. Who knows? That might be the only chink in the armor this year.
Yeah, it could be. Now, Ohio State, they're off this week. They play Washington next week.
Yeah.
Then they've got Minnesota. Then you mentioned that Illinois game. It's in Champaign. It's a road game for Ohio State. So and Illinois is ranked number 9 in the country, which blows my mind that Illinois is number 9. Then 2 weeks later they've got the home game against Penn State. That's going to be an absolute blockbuster.
Yep.
And then the Michigan game at the end of the season where they go to Ann Arbor.
Yes. Yeah.
No, a road rivalry game for Ohio State. So not the hardest schedule, but certainly they've got tricky spots.
Yeah.
And they've one loss won't kill them. 2 losses probably won't kill them.
No.
But once you gets too very slim.
Yes.
So they just got to handle your business. Handle their business.
Well,
Every
I mean,
game, go out.
they had 2
win
losses
those
last
games.
year, walked away with the Natty, so it didn't seem to crush them too much
Exactly.
last year. So.
It did. Yeah, definitely didn't. Now, speaking of Illinois, 3-0, ranked number 9. How about this as a game of the week contender for week 4 of the college football season? You would never have expected this to be a possible best game of the week. It's primetime NBC on Saturday night. Illinois at Indiana.
Indiana. That's right. That's
of course, Indiana, last year's darlings that got into the playoff.
Yep.
Kurt Signetti who's done a fantastic job rebuilding that program, or building that program. They've never really had any sort of era where they've had sustained success in Indiana football. Indiana's a basketball school. Always has been.
Yeah.
They'll have years where they're decent. They made one Rose Bowl trip, back in the bowl era, and that had been back in the 60s.
Oh, okay. So
but
quite a while ago,
Signetti's done a great
yeah.
Signetti's done a fantastic job building an Indiana football program.
Mm-hmm.
Illinois, they have moments, but they're not a powerhouse school.
No.
The thought that this game would be played in prime time on a network that draws more eyeballs than ESPNU just would blow your mind if you saw if a time traveler came from 20 years ago to 2025 and saw that Illinois was going to play Indiana on free-to-air NBC on Saturday night in their heavily promoted Big Ten Saturday night block. That time traveler would have 2 questions for you. What have you been smoking, and why aren't you sharing?
It's gonna be interesting. Indiana sitting at 19 on the rankings. Illinois, as you said, was 9. So it's gonna be an interesting game.
Yep.
That's for sure.
Yep. And whoever wins this game is going to have a quality win on their schedule, especially if it's Indiana, because Illinois is a top 10 team right now.
Yeah.
And they are going to be legitimate contenders to make the playoff. They are going to have a serious margin for error to have a slip up or two later in the season. Now, neither one of them really have a great strength of schedule overall.
No.
But the winner of this game is going to have a great win on their resume. Come the end of the season to determine a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
In terms of playoff seeding, and of course, it's a Big Ten conference win, and if you win all your Big Ten conference games, you should be winning the Big Ten conference championship ultimately, and get the automatic bid into the playoff. Yeah. So whoever wins that game would still be on track to win the Big Ten conference.
So it's going to be a very interesting, very important game for both those teams. So I'm hoping it's going to be a good showing for either of them. So.
And here's another game. Here's another good game for you. You've got Texas Tech and Utah in Salt Lake City. Texas Tech number 17, Utah number 16. Interestingly enough, 10 a.m. local time kickoff on Saturday.
Yeah, that's very early,
in Salt Lake City. So
yeah,
it is very early, but it's the big noon. It's the big noon Saturday game for Fox this weekend, and so you're going to be getting up early. You're going to be hitting early. You better be ready for it, and because whoever loses this game is going to take a step back. They're both 3-0. They're ranked mid-teens in the AP top 25 this week.
Yep.
But lose this one, you're taking a serious step back, and then now your path becomes harder to get the Big 12's spot in the college football playoff to get to the Big 12 title game, win the conference championship. So this is a massive game for both those teams.
Yep.
Coming up on Saturday. Another ranked versus ranked. Unbeaten Oklahoma, number 11, hosting number 22 Auburn, who's also 3-0. Auburn being at number 22, they really need the win to step up their ranking and put themselves into the conversation for the college football playoff.
Yes.
Oklahoma can't slip up at home, even against a ranked opponent. You cannot slip up at home. You got to win those home games.
No.
So huge game for both of those teams. This is an early season prove yourself Saturday.
Yes.
I just named a half a dozen teams that you get a chance to prove yourself against a fellow top 25 team in an early season game. So you got to take advantage of it. And 3 of these teams are gonna, feel like we got work to do.
Yep. Yeah, they've got a pretty tough schedule after Oklahoma, Auburn, Texas, A&M, Georgia, Missouri, Arkansas, and Kentucky, to mention a few. So they've got a few tough games coming up. Yeah.
There are very few easy games in the SEC.
Yes, that's right.
Let's be honest. There are very few easy games. If you want to win a conference title in the SEC, you're going to have to go through a whole heck of a lot of ranked opponents.
Yes.
It's just the way of life in the SEC.
All right. Just give me 30 seconds here, Chris. I will be back in just one moment, guys. Okay, apologise about that. Somebody knocking on my front door. Not even for me.
Don't they know we're live right now? They need to realize you need a light outside your door saying recording or live on YouTube.
Don't disturb.
Do not disturb.
I know.
Yep.
Parcel's not even for me. It's for my next door neighbor. That's crazy. But anyway.
Oh man.
So Austin in the chat here is saying that I got Oklahoma at home. John Mater is good. I'm liking John Mater as a quarterback there, so I think he's definitely going to give him a game for sure.
Yeah, and his Heisman stock is definitely going up the way he's played so far. So far this year, here's his numbers: 71 of 105 passing, 944 yards in 3 games. So he's averaging over 300 passing yards a game. 5 touchdowns. Now here's the Achilles heel for him, and he's got to be a lot more careful with the football. He's thrown 3 interceptions in 3 games.
Ooh.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
He's got turnovers.
Yeah.
Turnovers can be crushing for a team, especially when you step up in competition.
Yep.
This game against Auburn, they step up in competition. They played Temple on Saturday. They went to Philadelphia and played Temple, which, credit to them. That is not a normal road trip for a Power 4 team to go to play on the road against a team like Temple. But let me pull up his stats from Saturday. 20 of 34, 282 yards, threw a touchdown. Did have a pick against the Temple defense. Those types of mistakes, if you're making those types of mistakes against the Temple defense, now granted, it's only 1 interception and things can happen. but you've got to protect the
Yeah.
football when you're playing high quality competition.
Yep.
You're not going to get away with bad throws against Texas in Red River at the state fair next month.
Yes.
You're not going to get away with them in that game. You're not going to get away with them in a game against Ole Miss or Georgia or Texas A&M or any of the top teams in the SEC.
Yeah, Oklahoma's got a pretty tough schedule coming up for the next couple of weeks. As you're saying, you know, they've got Texas on the 12th of October, Ole Miss on the 25th, and then they've got Tennessee, Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So curbing those cheap, easy handovers is definitely something you got to wipe out from your game, because otherwise they're just going to punish you.
Yeah, and they've got some brutal road games this year, you know, that later in the season. You know, November 1st, they're going to Knoxville to play Tennessee.
Yeah.
They're going to Tuscaloosa 2 weeks later to play Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, then the following week, they've got Missouri, which is an old school Big 8 rivalry game. They got Missouri coming into Norman.
Yeah.
What's Missouri going to be when we get to that point in the season? Are they going to be sitting at, 10-0 or 9-1 and contenders in their own right for a playoff spot or possibly the SEC championship?
Yeah.
You know, we won't know until, because it's 2 months from now, but this is, again, you want to win the SEC, you've got to go through a gauntlet of great teams every year. Oklahoma wants to be one of those great teams.
Yep.
They got to prove it. They got to win these games. And, it starts this Saturday when they host Auburn, a nationally ranked Auburn team.
So there's quite a few games this week, which could be the turning point for a few teams for this season. Mm-hmm. So, a lot of must-win games.
I'll mention one. I'll mention one more. I'll mention one more game this week.
Yep.
South Carolina. They just lost by 24 at home to Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Now they've got to go to Columbia, Missouri to play the Tigers.
Yes.
This is a game that could get South Carolina's season back on track. If they go to Columbia, beat a ranked Missouri team, well, last week's forgotten. Last week was an aberration.
Yep.
For South Carolina. And remember, South Carolina was so close to making the playoff.
Yes.
So they've got a chance to immediately get their season back on track. Win a road game at a ranked team, they're going to be back in the top 25, and they're going to be sitting at 3-1 with a tiebreaker over Missouri, who is in their tier in the SEC, the preseason tier.
Yep.
You would have put South Carolina and Missouri in roughly the same area, just kind of behind the elite of, the elites, the Georgia, the Alabama, the Texas, the Tennessee. South Carolina and Missouri be in that next tier. And South Carolina beats Missouri, which I obviously, as a Missouri fan, I say, oh hell no, not going to happen. Missouri's going to crush them. But I've got my analyst hat on now. I've got my honest analyst hat on right now.
Yes,
South Carolina can go into Columbia and beat Missouri. Absolutely, they can. They have enough talent.
Because after Missouri, they've got Kentucky, but after that, it gets real tough. LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. I don't know who Coastal is. Who's Coastal? Is it
Coastal Carolina?
Oh, is it? Okay. And then obviously Clemson to round off their season. So they've not got they've got a pretty tough couple of weeks coming up for South Carolina.
Yep, and a loss to Missouri for South Carolina. Now all of a sudden they're 2-2 on a 2-game losing streak.
Yes,
playing an at times tricky Kentucky team.
Yep.
And then going into a gauntlet, and now as South Carolina, you're going, oh boy, this season now is on the verge of getting out of control for it.
Yeah, that's
so right. That's why Saturday's going to be an important game for them.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, so like we said, a few teams sitting on that razor fine edge of being in contention, and then trying to salvage what you can from the rest of the season. So it's going to be a pivotal week this week, week 4 in college football. So I'm looking forward to it as always. Every week it brings every week brings some unexpected results, some great plays, and I'm definitely looking forward to it as well too. So I think it's going to be a fantastic week of college football here too. So I think looking forward to week 4 as we're saying. So for YouTube, I think we'll probably be doing Georgia Alabama for our live game, which kicks off at 9:30 for myself. I think that's that 5:30 your window. Is that 6:30?
Hang on just a second here. That is. Hang on. I'm pulling up the schedule here.
Okay.
That is. Okay, come on, internet, work with me here. Georgia, Alabama. That's actually next week.
Is that next week? Oh, that is next week. I beg your pardon. I think it's Indiana, Illinois.
That's in a blockbuster week 5 where there is banger after banger after banger on the schedule.
As you know, week 5.
The game this week.
Yes, Illinois and Indiana.
The game. Yeah, probably the game of the week. The game we'd want to do on YouTube.
Yeah.
We'd probably want to do that NBC Big Ten Saturday night game, that Illinois-Indiana game. And
Illinois-Indiana.
I cannot believe I cannot believe I'm saying that, but that is legitimately the best game on the schedule this week. I think it's going to be an absolute banger.
Yeah.
But, probably, Discord, probably the 2:30 game, Auburn, Oklahoma, for those of you in the Patreon group and the $10 tier. Can do that game. If you're part of the $10 tier, come on into the bar.
Yep.
On Discord, watch the game with us, talk, and then hang around for the Illinois-Indiana game and be part of the YouTube broadcast. That is, one of the beautiful perks of that Patreon tier. You get to not only enjoy the YouTube watch party, you get to participate.
That's right.
And that's a whole lot of fun. Just, ask me. I have a blast every week doing it.
It is good to get in there and just chat and whatever else and talk a little smack. I must say we do give each other a bit of a hard time, which is half the fun. That's for sure.
That is, and it's like just like sitting with your friends in a bar.
That's exactly
watching
right.
The game. Bring the beverage of your choice. And just have fun. Talk a little smack. Don't get personal. Don't get mean about it. But smack talk is not only allowed, it is encouraged as long as it doesn't get out of hand.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I'm looking forward to the games this week. We'll be live again on YouTube as per usual. We'll put up the notification once we get it up. Again, Chris, thank you very much for joining us. Definitely going out of your way this week, live from the bus, driving to St. Louis. So I do appreciate you coming in and joining us today too. So our ever-present expert here on the channel, thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, in the chat as well. Nice to have everybody in today. We'll be live again on the weekend. Saturday coming with you with a watch party. We'll be doing some Indiana versus Illinois, so that's going to be a interesting game. I'm sure we'll have some interesting scores around the board as well too. So guys, thank you very much for joining us today. We'll be live again next week on 50 Yard Line. In the meantime, make sure you stay safe, and I'll definitely see you back here on our live stream, guys. We'll see you then.